Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and wherever in the world you may be located at. We're glad you are here. First things first, of course, I'm not Dr. Jerry Ozier. I'm Eric Taylor with Barricade Cyber. Dr. Gerald does send his regards, saying he could not make it this morning. He had the last minute personal issue come in. So I am very honored to be here to pitch it in his place and hopefully be able to bring you some of our takes of the news today. Welcome to episode 127. We are glad you're here. We're going to take a few minutes, just let everybody kind of pile in, and we will get started. The real, no, not the real Jerry. I will not be the real Jerry. Will not. Why is my chat overlay not working? There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. So the chat should start showing up in the stream. Good morning, everybody. Please remember, I've normally failed to mention this, but this episode is worth half a CE. So if you are required to keep CPEs, please notate, say, hey, my name is blah, 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 and I am here for today's episode. I need to mute that. That thing is a little loud. So how's everybody doing this morning? I know the past couple of weeks it's been really crazy on my side. Yes, this is a deep fake. Yes, I've been working on doing this, but my rig in the other room broke, so the real veil is revealed here. Carry day 131 days. Man, I will tip my water glass to you. I still drink a little bit of caffeine, but I definitely don't drink the 2 pots of coffee like I used to, even as of a month or so ago. Person got really, really sick, so get a lot of caffeine makes me really jittery anymore. I don't have the tolerance for it like I used to. So we will just give this thing a few more moments. Let everybody pile in. My name is Real Slim Shady. I'm Slim Shady, and I'm the Real Shady. So I've queued up everything. People who've watched this stream before, you guys know that things can tend to get a little spicy, right? So hopefully we don't have any eggplant stories again today, right? I remember the last one, the first episode or the first story right off the gate was, telling people they can go eat a D, and I was like, wow. And that was the first story, so it was crazy. It was crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will go ahead and get this thing kicked off. Y'all know the drill. In case you're not, you are new here and you just finally crowd out from underneath a rock every morning, we do go to CISOseries.com and look at all the stories of the day, and then we will give you our analysis based off of that story. So from there, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick this story off. Let's go.
It's Wednesday, June 8th, 2022. Passwords are finally dead. No, it's for real this time. At its Worldwide Developer Conference on Monday, Apple announced its plan to launch passwordless login across Macs, iPhones, iPads, and Apple TVs later this year. Within iOS 16 and macOS Ventura, users will be able to log into websites and apps using digital keys, which are created using Touch ID or Face ID. These passkeys will sync across user devices using iCloud's keychain rather than being stored on servers. In May, Apple, along with Microsoft and Google, declared their support for new FIDO standards upon which Apple's passkeys were developed. Hackers?
So that's interesting, right? I've been really watching this thing for a while about this whole passwordless situation. There's been many vendors out there attempt to do this, but I haven't seen anybody really shine through on this thing. The two things, this right here, this whole image screams LastPass to me. I'm a huge LastPass person, right? So this right here just screams LastPass to me. I guess maybe it's all the red or whatever. I don't know, but good thing to Apple for trying to get this thing done, but the Chinese, sorry, yeah, I definitely see the Chinese, exactly. The only real problem is this. So if you're in a complete Mac ecosystem, then maybe that it will be a good thing. So, you got your iPads, you got your iPhones, you got your iMac, um, or MacBook Pro, or whatever the case is. But if your whole world is the Mac ecosystem, then maybe that would be good. But and forgive me, I don't know a whole lot about. I mean, I have an iPhone, but I don't run on a Mac OS. I do have VMs of it, but you know, I do wonder about, if you're on your Mac, you know, most of them don't have Face ID unless you're doing MacBook Pro. You got the laptop or something like that going on. How is that going to really translate and be able to unlock and submit your keys, anything like that, right? But um, I don't know. I mean, I do see that the Apple's Face ID has worked pretty well. Um, in some of the tests I've done, I do know in Black Hat, there's a lot of people who are able to manipulate Face ID, things of that nature. But I haven't seen any stories in the past couple of years. So maybe Apple has done a really good job of locking that thing down. I do think that there is some loopholes with the new Face ID being allowed to use face mask while you use or try to unlock your iPhone and other devices. Um, so I do think that may lead some possible security holes, but definitely one that I will keep a definite eye on, because this whole situation has been evolving for many years, at least in the past 3, as a really really high thing. So this is definitely something that I'm going to keep another watchful eye on, seeing what Apple is doing, and hopefully it'll be good, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not a big flop like everything else has turned out to be, right? Because so many companies have tried to do this, and it just wants to it's just been a big flop. But anyway, we'll carry on.
Steal credit cards from online gun shops. 2 American gun shops have disclosed data breaches resulting from card skimmer infections on their e-commerce sites. Rainier Arms, who peddles high-end tactical rifles, received customer reports of unauthorized payment card activity back in December 2021, but only just isolated malicious card-stealing Java code on its site in mid-April. The skimmer was actively harvesting payments since June of 2021, and Rainier has issued breach notices to more than 46,000 impacted customers. Additionally, firearms dealer Numeric discovered in March that they had suffered a similar breach affecting payment information entered on their site between January 23rd and April 5th, 2022. With increasing sensitivity around gun ownership and high-dollar transactions, firearm dealer sites are expected to remain lucrative targets for cyber criminals.
All right, so this one may get a little technical, so this kind of where I live in, right? So um as a note, when you are a lot of folks will see, your credit card skimmers at your gas pump, at your retail store, things of that nature, a little device that will sit over your credit card machine that will steal and skim that data before it goes into the machine itself. That's skimming. It's you taking a layer off. That's kind of why it's called skimming. Um, why I guess it's still called credit card skimming, because they're adding a layer into the web page itself. So a lot of times what they'll do is use a Java code to actually intercept or analyze the credit card transactions through the brokers, things of that nature, like from the website to the broker. So the code will sit on that website and will capture that information in transit going through, or from the web page before it hits that secure communication and goes through, kind of skimming it in the process. I morally call it an interception, not really a skimming in the truest sense of skimming, but that's kind of the way it is. A lot of it's just a lot of Java code that goes in. It's very, very targeted to the platform that they're using. You can't just drop any script kiddie type of thing. There's got to be specific code to it. But this is just another situation, that I talk about all the time, where you know you may think that your individual business does not need to worry about cybersecurity in any way, shape, or form, right? But this is this is just another data breach. We all get a little numb to it, right? So it's like, oh, okay, just another data breach, just another ransomware. But I don't know, man. It's a lot of these companies need to start doing a lot better. When you're holding, so when you are filling out a permit to get a gun or firearm, a pew pew, whatever you want to say it. I think we're allowed to say firearms and stuff on YouTube and LinkedIn, but there's a lot of sensitive information. Your date of birth, your full name, your address. It's been a long time. I'm pretty sure you give your social security number. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because it's got to go through the state SLED and they got to verify you. So you're submitting your social security number as well. So there's a lot of sensitive information there that's being stolen, right? So it's not good. I mean, this just goes back to the whole case. You need to, if you are in charge of your business's cybersecurity policy and procedures and standings and things like that, you got to sit back and be like, what is it about my network that I'm scared or I don't know or I'm worried about, and invite a company in, whether it's Barricade Cyber or not, to have that conversation, right? But people got to be more secure. People got to be more secure. But I guess if people were so secure, we wouldn't have much to talk about these days, right? So, but anyway, carrying on, ladies and gentlemen, carrying on before we get too highly spicy.
Shield's data breach affects 2 million patients. Massachusetts-based medical services provider Shields Healthcare Group has suffered a data breach that exposed the data of approximately 2 million patients. Shields became aware of the cyber attack on March 28th of this year, and with the help of cybersecurity experts, determined that hackers had access to their systems from March 7th to March 21st, potentially exposing patient data, including name, SSN, dates of birth, home address, and medical records. Shields says that so far, it has seen no evidence of any stolen information being misused or further disseminated. A complete list of the 56 impacted medical facilities is published on the Shields website. Cyber?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this, right? You got just like the gun story, right? The firearms dealer. You have full name, social security number, date of birth, home address. This is even more information. Look, this is. I really think, if you were a threat actor of any way, shape, or form, that you could easily start building massive profiles on people with all the data breaches. There's always been a joke that well, I got Equifax credit monitoring literally for the rest of my life because of all the data breaches. I think we've said this on this podcast before, but it's not good with all the stuff that's getting leaked. How much of your data could be correlated? How much of your information could be correlated from all the data that's been leaked, right? It's almost like we got to get to a point. It's like, you know what? I just need a new identity, right? Tomorrow I need to become Mark Brown or something. I don't know. But it's just, I don't know where the end of this is going to be at, right? But a lot of this stuff just makes me sick. Like, it makes me, those of us that are in the infosec industry, and that are parents, we really worry about our kids. Like, if it's this bad now, right, what is it going to be like for our kids when they get into this world, right? So, are they going to have any security? Are they going to have really any identity left? Or is it just all going to be stolen where anybody can assume anybody's identity that they want? So I don't know. A little personal rant there, but please, people, start talking to people and start locking down your systems, please, for the love of God.
Cybersecurity Advisory warns of potent cyber extortion group.
No.
Several U.S. federal agencies, including CISA, have issued an alert warning organizations of a data extortion group named Karakurt, which experts believe has ties to the infamous Conti gang. Karakurt has employed a variety of TTPs to steal data from companies and subsequently demand ransoms as high as 13 million Bitcoin. Karakurt has been known to contact their victims' employees, business partners, and clients with harassing phone calls and emails containing screenshots of stolen data to pressure the victims to cooperate. Between September and November of 2021, more than 40 organizations fell victim to Karakurt. CISA has published mitigation strategies at www.cisa.gov.
All right, so Karakurt is security, but or another data exfiltration, double extortion. I can't talk. Double extortion group. But let's just be clear. Karakurt is believed by many, including myself, a rebranded entity. If you remember a couple weeks back, talking about banning everything that they're doing, all the administrators were going to actually go into separate. We think this is actually a rebranding of Conti. So, while they say it's a part of Conti, we freaking think it is Conti. I mean, just, instead of your ice cream being made by Dunkin' Donuts this week, or your donuts being made by Dunkin' Donuts week, maybe going to Krispy Kreme or whatever. Does Starbucks do donuts? I don't think they do. But anyway, so we'll do Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme, right? So just get a different manufacturer, different vendor. There's nothing really new. I mean, it is interesting to see the demands have ranged from $25,000 to $13 million. Look, these folks, while they pop you and steal your data and put it up on their name and shame sites, right? Crispy Donkey, love it. Hold on. Crispy Donkey. There we go. Lost my train of thought. But so they do information, right? They go to Zoom info. They do whatever they can. Plus, they look through your data that's been exfiltrated to see if there's any sensitive information. And a lot of times they'll base it off of your reported yearly gross income. Zoom info has nothing concrete or anything like that, but it's definitely a good estimation of what your company's value may be. So, I will say from our world, from the digital forensics incident response, we have seen some that are less than 25,000, not Karakurt, but definitely Conti. And we have worked cases much larger than $13 million. So a little insight. These things can get downright pricey. An ounce of prevention will prevent these type of things. So do your homework, folks. All they're going to do is just change their name as soon as they get too big. So.
And that management platform, check out plextrack.com/CISO series. That's plextrac.com/CISO series. Basta ransomware now targets VMs. Uptick's threat research analysts have identified Basta as the latest ransomware gang to add support for VMware ESXi machines running on enterprise Linux servers. Basta's ransomware uses the Cha-Cha-20 algorithm to encrypt VMs on compromised ESXi and leverages multiple processors to speed up the encryption process. The ransomware creates ransom notes, which conveniently include chat panel links and unique IDs that victims can use to communicate with the attackers. Since first being observed in the wild back in April, Basta has received at least one ransom demand exceeding $2 million in exchange for use of its decryptor tool. Apple safety.
Another day, another ransomware, right? So ESXi VMware. VMware makes ESXi, which is a hypervisor platform that a lot of people use. It is the alternative to the Windows platform. I personally do not like my hypervisors being the same operating system that my core infrastructure is running off of. So yeah, I'm not going to use Hyper-V, personal preference, right? I know a lot of people love Hyper-V, but I'm not using it as my hypervisor. I can tell you that much right now. And with that said, VMware has definitely been a massive target for ransomware, right? So there's two ways that you're going to get to a hypervisor. Pop quiz, everybody. What's the two ways you can get to a hypervisor? Either you're already in the network, or you're exposing your network to the environment. We actually had a case about a year, 2 years ago, where a hosting provider left one of their iDRACs exposed to the internet from a cloud provider, and they had default credentials in there. They went in and wiped and encrypted the entire freaking thing, right? So have your stuff exposed to the internet. It's plain and simple. Um, Unfortunately, and somebody tell me in chat if I am wrong, but I am pretty sure there's not a single EDR platform that will run on ESXi VMware. So being able to pull and monitor your logs of these devices is very, very critical. There's ways that you can be able to send the syslogs of these devices out, so that way you can be able to analyze them for further analysis. So, and most of the times, if you actually don't have this, you're exposed to the internet, there's plenty of telltale signs that somebody's inside of your network long before they get to your ES6i server. But monitor and log all the things, right? Monitor and log all the things.
Check combats domestic abuse. Apple announced a new feature called the Safety Check, designed to curb domestic abuse, which will debut in iOS 16. Apple says the new feature gives users the ability to review permissions granted to apps and other individuals, and provides an emergency reset function that instantly cuts off iCloud access from other devices, including GPS tracking, resets privacy permissions, and limits FaceTime and messaging services to one device. The optimal time for abuse victims to leverage emergency reset is when they are no longer in close physical proximity to their abuser. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, you are encouraged to reach out to law enforcement or the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233.
Maybe another tip of the hat to Apple, right? They are, I've always, so let me put a big asterisk at the start of this, right? Apple does some sketchy, questionable activities, right? Not too long ago, they were talking about scraping your photos that were sent to iCloud to look for potential child pornography, right? Granted, let's stop child pornography, but you're really scraping my data. The same thing, you know, I have a very, very, what's the right way to say it? I have a bone to pick with people who do domestic abuse, right? Like, I will literally go to jail if I see someone abusing a woman. I'll just beat the crap out of them. I have no tolerance for that. So Apple doing this is a tip of the hat, right? At the same time, I do wonder what data are you getting to indicate that? I didn't see in here. I do know when on Android there was the emergency revokes all access, blah blah blah. There is a way on some devices. I think it's on iPhone as well. I know it's on Android, where you could actually push two buttons 3 times, 2 or 3 times, and it'll put it in that mode. So like if you see a suspicious person coming up to you and you're like, I just don't feel comfortable, you push those couple buttons, like the volume up and the power, or the volume down to power, or power up, power down type things like that. And it can put it in this mode. It'll start recording. It will start taking video of your front and back camera, things of that nature. I think you can do the same thing with iOS, or are they just doing constant monitoring of all the communications around you for certain triggers like saying, hey, enter smart device name here. I don't want to set everybody's freaking smart devices off. Um, so definitely something we need to take a look at. This looks like preliminary information. Oh, here we go. If you hit the button, iCloud is removed from the device except for your handset, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't see in here. Give me one sec. So yeah, it doesn't say like what buttons or features or whatever you have to tap. At least not by the skimming of this article. So definitely something I'm going to look into as well. But at least on the surface, like I said, another tip of the hat to Apple trying to do something in the good of, people's safety. So we'll leave it at that. Hopefully they don't cross any bad lines and just whatever. But at some point, I hate to say it, but at what point do we give up some personal security for the overall safety of others, right? So
Schneier predicts AI hacking will favor defense. In his keynote at RSA Conference 2022, Bruce Schneier contended that it's only a matter of time before AI becomes a more dangerous hacking threat than its human counterparts due to AI's speed, scale, and scope. Schneier highlighted how AI thinks outside the box compared with humans because AI doesn't consider values, norms, implications, or context. Schneier noted that cybersecurity professionals need to begin preparing to defend against AI threats now, suggesting financial systems as a starting point due to their being, quote, designed to be algorithmically hackable, end quote. Finally, Schneier opined, quote, AI hacking can be deployed by the offense and the defense. In the end, it favors the defense, end quote.
all right, those who I'm sure everybody is in here, so please take this with a grain of salt. I'm mentioning this for those who do not know, and there's probably nobody in here that doesn't know this, but AI is, of course, artificial intelligence. There's a lot. AI is definitely a lot of buzzwords, especially in the infosec and cyber defense world between AI and ML, which is called machine learning. I think a lot of this stuff is really upcoming technology. They're doing some really cool things with it, but I don't think it's prime time by any means. But it's just definitely one of those things that if you're in that world, right, you're looking to, you're in that AI world. You're looking to talk about AI and things of that nature, especially for your passions or your business or something like that. This may be something that you want to dig in a little deeper. I know RSA got a ton of videos that are being sent out, a lot of cool things that are being talked about right now, and of course AI. But this article definitely will, AI will change hacking speed, scale, and scope. They will think like aliens. So they will think outside of the box. And I think that really is the key thing that you got to take away about. We've had several articles already talking about ransomware, the new, what I believe is a rebranding of Conti. But what if your ESXi servers were being attacked by a potential AI? They can quickly manipulate and pivot and do different things to attack and enumerate inside of your network based off of AI. Do you think as a defender, you're going to be able to defend a technology? Hell no. You're not going to be able to do that. So having your EDR, XDR, MTR, things of that nature will definitely be of interest, right? We got a question in the chat from Mr. Dr. Gerald Ozier. Have you ever seen the AI produce new bands going malicious alerts that you're blocked before it's done? That's a good question. So I think I know we are going with this. I do think having your primary defenses blocking on new domains is critical, right? And even here's a tip from a pro, if you will. Any new and unrated domain gets immediately blocked in our networks until they are properly vetted, right? I think that's where you're going. So, um, unless you can prove and that you could prove that that domain is okay, you can prove that that network that your network is trying to communicate is clean and it is good to go. I'm not going to let my clients communicate with that. So, um, same thing on the inbound, right? I'm not going to let unknown, untrusted networks communicate with my trusted networks. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, we get a lot of pushback from our clients about that. It's like, but it's just blah blah blah. I'm like, but do you really know blah blah blah? I don't know blah blah blah. So let's talk to blah blah blah, and then we can trust them into our network. But blah 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 can stay at the door. Blah 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 blah. But anyway, we'll carry on, ladies and gentlemen.
And now for our You Should Probably Patch That segment. On Monday, Google published its Android Security Bulletin for June 2022, detailing patches for over 40 security vulnerabilities, including an RCE bug in the system component affecting Android versions 10, 11, 12, and 12L. Several other critical vulnerabilities were also addressed by the bulletin. Additionally, Zero Patch Micropatching Service has developed free and unofficial patches for all Windows platforms back to Windows 7 and Server 2008, which are vulnerable to yet another zero-day vulnerability, dubbed Dogwalk, in the Microsoft Support Diagnostic Tool. Though the bug was first discovered back in January 2020, Microsoft denied it being a security issue, claiming that Outlook users were not at risk. However, security researchers claim that a threat actor could still use the traversal bug to deliver malicious files via alternate email clients or in drive-by download attacks. And
Another. So, however, there's another RCE vulnerability. Those who don't know, holy moly, I am so sorry. I didn't even have that window up. My apologies, viewers. Y'all were just looking at a big old screen on my head. My apologies. So this is the last one that they were talking about, definitely patching all of your things. There's over 40 security vulnerabilities that are affecting the Android devices and their related device or the Android ecosystem. RCE raised condition remote code execution. Sorry, had a brain fart for a second there. But remote code execution, so you're able to execute remote code and get unattended access or make things go into, make remote devices do execute code in an unfavorable way, right? So this really goes back to know all your things, patch all of your things. If you don't know you got 13 if you only think you have 10 Android scanners for your manufacturing plant, but you really have 13, you potentially have 3. So this really goes back to asset inventory, knowing all of your things, patching all of your things. It's very, 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 very critical. So please go around, patch all of your things. And be more secure, right? So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the CISO series. On a programming note, I do definitely want to make sure that everybody tunes in about 2 hours. In about 2 hours. No, actually, about 3 hours. I can't do math this morning. Somebody said in the comments, I'm going full Charlie Brown. Yes, I am today. I'm a full Charlie Brown fanatic today. But Dr. Gerald Ozier will be doing a mock simulation. I believe he is a red team. No, he's blue teamer this week. And he will be defending against the threat gen AI, to simulation, trying to breach into his network. So that will be on his channel and the threat gen channel. Definitely please go over there and do us all a big favor. Let's try to promote Threat Gen. Please go out to YouTube, look for Threat Gen. Please subscribe, because they are not only employing and helping Dr. Gerald Ozier, they are doing a ton of stuff, in and outside the community. So, if you're into InfoSec, you love the cybersecurity stuff, please go subscribe to Threat Gen. Help those folks out with going forward with that. With all the notes that we have, it looks like the regular host will be back tomorrow again. He will even be on a little bit later today. He just had some last minute stuff come up. So thanks for tolerating my Charlie Brown today. And we will bid y'all all adieu. Take care, take care, everyone. Take care of each other, and we'll see y'all next time. Take care.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go.
Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.